to understand it. When you rewind the tape back then, what you loved about those drummers that you just mentioned, if you look at them, and I asked you, who were they learning from? How were they learning it? They weren't learning it. They were creating it through experience.
Absolutely.
So if you fast forward the tape to now, the people now that are learning it, the way that they're learning it, the way that they're spoon-fed, obviously from your perspective, takes all the organicness out of the music, which is the excitement, is what you just said. And you said everything is emotion and everything is too, you say technical? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's too, that seems to be the challenge now, whether or not you can go on stage and read a shot. In the old days, they had jam sessions, and they would try to actually smoke each other off stage. They would try to, it was a war.
Yeah.
And if you came and sat next to, you came in and Max Rose was playing and you were going to play, you better play, because he's not playing. So same thing with all the cats. They even said that back then. They would all go listen to each other, because that's the school, to listen to someone and to get connected to them.
Meaning drummers would go listen to drummers, or musicians,
Go
no matter
listen
what
to-
it was, would go
Everybody.
listen to.
Yeah.
Everybody. And there was an active war about how many choruses you would improvise at what tempo.
Yeah.
You know, it was about, okay, you soloed, 12 choruses on this up-tempo bebop song. Let me show you what I got now. And the other horn player would go on the bandstand and try to play their very best.
Absolutely.
Or different. And I think playing differently is what sparked all that creation, to be different from the other guys. Now I hear a lot of guys that are trying to sound like everybody else, or to kind of play good, but play good according to certain standards that are predetermined. And therefore everybody, it's very hard now. You don't hear too many musicians that have a very distinct voice. When you do, those are the masters. A master to me is a guy that, or a girl, that when you play on the recording or you go to see them live, you go like, that's Mike Stern.
Yeah.
What that sound? That's Kenny Garrett.
Right.
That's Brian Blade. That's Dennis Chambers. They all have their own unique voice.
Absolutely.
But a lot of that, like Lenny was saying, is going away. Just like people dress the same and buy at the same supermarkets. It's like the world is becoming more of a.
Do you think a lot of that instructional material that's out there, and this is a really bad example now because of the internet and like all these videos that are popping up where people can learn stuff. Do you think that for a certain amount of years that the DVDs that came out that like everybody's watching, that they've perfected all of those moves that are on those DVDs, and since everybody is perfecting those moves and those those chops, when they go out to perform it, that they have to perform what it is that they practiced, even if it doesn't fit with the music that's being created at the moment. Like, I'm gonna put this thing in to this tune because I want to be able to use this thing that I've learned, but yet it doesn't go with that. It doesn't go with that tune, but I'm gonna put it in there somewhere because I spent the time to learn it.
Yeah.
As opposed to just playing the music for what is called for at that moment. You know what I mean? If you go back to Buddy and those guys, what I'm asking you was, there wasn't any of that. So there wasn't any stock language. They were creating a language as they went along with it. But then as you go forward 80 years with everybody learning DVDs and video cassettes, and not your stuff, because your stuff has never been out there at the not like DCI video where somebody's selling 18
People don't
million
even look
copies
at my
of something.
tapes, yeah, because they're so messed up. But what you're saying, it came with authority. authority. You know, the masters, not just the masters, but everybody in the bebop era, everybody, every musician, they had an authority about them that couldn't be denied. So that's what they're exchanging with each other, a magnitude of, you know, concern. So when they got on stage, it wasn't, you know, can you play this? You better be able to play it when you came on stage with them. It's assumed if you're going to sit up there next to Blakey or if you're going to come after Philly Joe, that you're not going to sound like a Berkeley student. And I love Berkeley. I'm not down in Berkeley. I'm just saying there's a magnitude of authority that can't be denied that gels with all, everybody and all. So the authority that everybody represented in those days is what balanced off the differences.
If they couldn't, what happened?
They don't play. Don't come up on stage if you can't play. Not
I mean,
then.
So if they did and it didn't happen, then what?
They would talk about you. They would put you down. They might even tell you to get out.
Absolutely.
They might
so
even tell you
once
to
you're out, you never came back.
Oh, you come back if you got character. But if you get offended and yeah, you don't come back. But if you get just like anything in life, when you
And these were like jam sessions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But they were wars.
Well, you know, here is how I see it. A good analogy might be, you go to a party. Someone told you there's a party, and you don't really know what kind of a party. So you show up, and you got a jeans, a shirt. You know, then you realize in the parking lot that your jeans has a little stain.
Yeah.
Your shirt was not ironed. And you get at the door, and you see everybody with a tuxedo,
Right.
dressed up. You're not going to walk in. You go like, you know what? Let me either go home and change, which would be, let me go home and practice.
Yeah.
You know, in our case, in the music world, or this is not it for me. These are not my type of people. So if you go to a jam session or you walk into a club and people are playing with that kind of authority and passion and fire and knowledge too, and you're not up for it, just you don't even feel like going on the bandstand, and after a chorus and a half getting lost or don't play
Yeah.
at that level.
Yeah. They start out with Cherokee at 325.
Right. So either you play or you don't.
That was like a regular tempo.
Either you play or you don't.
Right.
Look, there is an interview. Vic Firth
Right.
interviewed Buddy Rich. It's on a tape cassette. I don't know if you ever heard it from back in the days. It was one of those cassettes that was given away with you bought 3 pairs of sticks and you would get a cassette. Somebody put the audio on YouTube, but I remember the cassette from back in the days when I was a Berkeley student. And Vic Firth asked Buddy Rich, so Buddy, what do you think about styles? Drumming styles. Styles are changing. And Buddy Rich was very brisk and direct. He said, I don't care about styles. Either you play the drums or you don't.
I heard that.
That's what he said.
Because
he said
that's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
That the style is you. And you are what you represent. And you represent where you come from. If you play drums, like today, they don't have the vocabulary of drums that was set before them. That's why I'm saying don't forget the masters. That's why I did all the masters. I don't want drum. I'm not even talking about being a jazz drummer. I'm just saying if you're gonna play the drums for real, there were cats that played the drums for real in the 60s. They played for real, every one of them. So they didn't play. Today drummers play like they do the 6-stroke roll fingerings and do the rhythm scale, and that's it. Today you're a star if you do that. You do 6-stroke roll variations, the rhythm scale, and you get any kind of gig. Not that back then. 6-stroke roll, that's all you got to stay home. 6-stroke roll and the rhythm scale. Today, I mean, you can't let go of history. You can't let history go. These guys set a pace before us that's so strong. They're starting to come back to them. They're starting to check out the masters, but kind of slow. They're in the kindergarten.
Here's something that I'd like to add. The future of music is in its past.
That's right.
The future of music
Everything
has to be in the past. We
Everything.
got to go back and explore what the masters did. Specifically with drumming, you know, if you think about a guy like Buddy Rich, tempos have been going down actually from the Buddy Rich days. Even when they do the memorial, the Buddy Rich concerts,
Nobody played Buddy
they're
stuff
not
yet.
they're not playing those arrangements at those tempos because it's untouchable material.
And when they play drum solos, they don't play nothing Buddy's thing.
In sports, you know, usually every Olympic game there's a guy that goes, you know, half a second faster than the guy before. But in drumming, not that speed is important, but there has been a devolution of where drumming used to be, you know. Guys like Buddy Rich, Louis Bellson, and Gene Krupa, and all the
Alan
masters.
Dawson.
That's what I was
Alan
asking
Dawson.
about. That's what I was asking about the instructional stuff. So all the instructional material, obviously marketing tied to income for
Right.
different musicians.
Right.
You know, I'm going to put out this instructional video. I'm going to do this. We can do this. You know, those guys weren't doing that. There was no. That was not even on the grid. It was about the music. It wasn't about, well, I got less gigs, so I'm going to do an instructional video, so I can do that and go do a clinic tour and, you know, do, you know, make a living being an educator, which is great. But Buddy wasn't touring being an educator, was he?
He was gifted.
playing.
When he was a kid, he was in the vaudeville. Right? He started about 8 years old. He was in vaudeville with his mom and dad.
3 years old, he was on stage for the first time as a featured character. Traps the Drum Wonder.
Yeah.
That's the famous picture, right?
Yeah, he was hiding behind the bass drum.
Yeah.
He was little
Yeah. Wow.
until
Wow.
a certain scene, and you know, then he would come out, and people would go like, "Wow, that was it," because they could hear the sound,
Right.
but they couldn't hear who was playing because he was a little guy and he was hiding.
Wow.
Yeah, drums, Traps, the Drum Wonder.
From Boston?
No,
Buddy?
no,
Yeah.
No, I don't know I don't know.
He was not from Boston, definitely. I'm not sure where he was from.
But drumming, drums are forever. Drums, man, without even gigging. I mean, drums. Look at all these beautiful drums. I tell drummers, you know, you aspire to be a musician. Sometimes it doesn't work. Then you end up being a teacher. Then you end up just teaching. Or sometimes you get another job. But the drums are still there. I got for you things to challenge your drum set as long as you live. And I'm not talking about gigging.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about sitting down on a drum set and being happy. Like you coming all the way from Chicago, sir, to get a set. Why? Because you love the drums that much. You can't be with a better person to come all the way from Chicago, because that's the kind of dedication you have. That's the kind of dedication we're talking about, you know.
Well, what he told me, I didn't quite understand. I'm like, you mean you're renting a van tomorrow morning?
I love it, man.
I said, I asked him, where are you going to stop?
Wow, man.
I asked him, I said, you're probably going to stop somewhere,
God
get a
bless you.
hotel.
God bless you, man. Holy sugar, man.
Oh my God.
And me and Sergio, I'm glad to be here. I guess I'm supposed to be here because
We-
that's how special you are.
Him and I, you know, we spent nights at the Mass Ave subway stop
This is
till
what you
2
gotta
a.m.
understand.
Till 2 a.m.
I have no idea
Wow.
who this guy is,
Wow.
what he's done.
Wow.
It didn't matter. There's an energy.
That's beautiful.
There's an energy
Yeah, man.
That's how we rule.
that there's an energy that presents itself in
Yeah.
the first within minutes. Within minutes of meeting him, I had no idea the level of what you guys are.
Yeah.
That energy presents itself immediately, and it wouldn't even matter. The drive is irrelevant. It's just now, and that was just a couple days ago.
And we had no idea that Master Lenny was going to show
I said,
up.
I'm getting off on the exit. Was it Main Street? No,
Park Street.
Park Street. I said, I just got off on the Park Street exit off of 95. He goes, I think you're in the wrong place because my street is only about 25 feet long. I said, no. Off of
25,
95,
huh?